Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating and honestly kind of unsettling shift in how we relate to one another. Look, we are obviously living through an incredible technological moment, but we really need to talk about what the rise of AI is quietly doing to our relationships. We're going to explore how we might be unknowingly trading deep, genuine human connection for everyday convenience. And most importantly, we'll look at the conscious choices we can make to, well, keep ourselves human. Okay, let's dive right in with a tough question. I want you to think about your day so far. Who do you actually exchange the most messages with? Is it a friend, a partner, or is it a chatbot? It wasn't that long ago that when we hit a problem, our first instinct was to reach out to a person. Today, for millions of us, that very first instinct is just to open an AI app. To really wrap our heads around this quiet shift, we have to look at our baseline. Even before our screens took over completely, and well before the pandemic forced everyone inside, roughly 1 in 2 U.S. adults were already reporting measurable loneliness. Half of us. So we were already incredibly vulnerable, practically primed for something to step in and fill that void. Now check out how the next generation is adapting to this reality. 72% of U.S. teens have used an AI companion at least once. They're growing up in a world where an always-on digital entity is literally just a tap away, ready to listen when human friends are asleep or just busy. And this trend, it's spreading like wildfire. We're looking at a 700% growth in AI companion apps from 2022 to mid-2025. But hey, I want to be extremely clear right here. AI is absolutely not the villain. Screens aren't inherently evil, and the productivity gains are very real. The actual issue we're facing is substitution. It's the way this super convenient digital contact is quietly taking the place of the messy, in-person connection that our human brains literally evolved to need. So let's get into Section 1, how AI creates distance and the 4 mechanisms behind it. The first mechanism is direct substitution. Think about the little things, asking a buddy how to phrase a tricky email, or texting your mom what to cook for dinner with 3 random ingredients. We used to bring these minor things to our friends and mentors, but by handing these trivial tasks off to AI, our everyday reasons to reach out just disappear. We end up losing those low-stakes, ordinary touchpoints that actually keep human relationships warm. Mechanism number 2 is what researchers call frictionless empathy. A chatbot is endlessly patient, right? It's awake at 2 a.m. and it almost never disagrees with you. But real relationships aren't like that. They take effort, they require compromise, and you have to tolerate a little friction. When an always agreeable AI becomes your baseline, the totally normal friction of a real human relationship suddenly feels completely exhausting. Third, we've got skill erosion. Social skills are exactly like muscles. If you don't use them, you lose them. Reading a room's tone, sitting through an awkward silence, recovering from a terrible joke, you only learn these through live practice. As more interaction shifts to screens, we get way fewer reps, and this matters so much for kids and teens, whose social muscles can just fade away without live face-to-face practice. Finally, there's connection theater. Social media promised to keep us all close, but let's be real. Swapping memes, hitting the like button, or firing off a fire emoji isn't a real conversation. It's a performance. It allows us to feel incredibly busy and digitally surrounded, while we are actually starving for a conversation that nourishes us. Moving on to Section 2, the evidence, and the true cost of all this disconnection. The science on this is young, but man, it is converging rapidly. Sure, AI offers a quick fix in a lonely moment, but randomized trials, like a recent one from MIT and OpenAI, show that heavy daily use actually correlates with increased emotional dependence and reduced real-world socializing. I mean, 58% of Americans feel lonely despite being constantly connected. And with our average daily screen time now sitting around 7 to 9 hours, it is quietly but very directly displacing our live interactions. Which brings us to this shocking reality check from a 2023 U.S. Surgeon General advisory. This absolutely blew my mind. It proved that loneliness isn't just a bad mood. The mortality impact of chronic social disconnection is comparable to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Just let that sink in for a second. It is a devastating physical health crisis. When we lose that connection, a massive domino effect hits every single part of our lives. Physically, you're looking at a higher risk of heart disease, stroke, and weakened immunity. Mentally, it's a huge risk factor for depression, anxiety, and even dementia. Developmentally, kids lose the live conversation they absolutely need to build empathy. And societally, it erodes trust and strips an estimated $997 billion from the U.S. economy every year due to lost productivity. That's nearly $1 trillion. Let's pivot to Section 3, finding the balance between tool and replacement. This table perfectly illustrates the tightrope we're walking. On the left, we see where AI is genuinely amazing. It removes the drudgery to free up our time, lowers barriers to learning, and hey, it's there at 2 a.m. when no human is awake. Using tech to supplement human contact is a massive win. But look over at the right column. Where it really costs us is when it replaces human contact altogether, when it makes the messy reality of our relationships feel too hard, when kids lose their skill building, and when it just deepens our isolation. That line is way too easy to cross without even noticing. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, conscious habits for protecting real connection. Step 1, you've got to audit your inputs. You simply cannot fix a balance you aren't tracking. Seriously, take an honest look at your phone today. Notice who you're truly spending your digital energy on. Sometimes just having that awareness is enough to shift your behavior. Step 2 is protecting phone-free time. Carve out very specific device-free zones. Maybe it's dinner time or the first hour you're awake or right before bed. Actually put the device out of sight and just be fully, unapologetically present with the humans physically around you. Presence is exactly where the depth is. And let's build on that with some super actionable steps. First, schedule connection like any other non-negotiable commitment. Put it on the calendar. Second, default to higher bandwidth contact. Go get coffee instead of leaving an Instagram comment. Pick up the phone instead of texting. Third, use AI to crush those boring tasks so you can reclaim that time for your people. And lastly, invest deeply. A handful of messy, deep ties will do vastly more for your well-being than 100 shallow digital ones ever could. I love this quote, and I think it hits the nail on the head. Human connection is about to become the rarest, most valuable thing we have. We are social animals at our core. Literally no amount of AI-driven productivity, no matter how cool or fast it is worth it if it pulls us away from the people we care about. We have to make connection a deliberate choice. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on as you head back out into the digital world today. How will you consciously protect your real, beautiful, completely messy human relationships when the whole world is optimized to just bypass them? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and honestly, I hope this sparks some really great in-person conversations for you today.